Okay, we're recording. Okay, so I'm going to start over again real quickly. Ah, howdy, folks. My name is Johnny Barnett, and this class is called Chakras, Mythology and Astrological Symbolism. It's a look at our spiritual anatomy. The idea is that spirit and/or energy, if you prefer, underlies everything that we are and do physically. And so, getting a look at what's going on beneath the surface gives you, it helps empower you to take actions that are in alignment with universal forces that exist within you. um, no one's talking about this in grade school. I don't think anyone's talking about this in church, certainly not the way I was raised. So yeah, this is a look at what I consider to be one of the most important lessons anyone can have. And so let's begin. And the first thing we do is just go down, and I'm going to stand up for a minute because you can't see, but the root chakra down there, right? You have 7 hand widths, by the way, from head to toe, excuse me, from the base of your spine to the top of your skull. We'll find that there are many unique or interesting coincidences about the number 7 everywhere we look on the planet. 7 hand widths from the length of your spine up to the top of your head is one example of those. So anyway, here we go with the root chakra. The essence of the root chakra is contained in these 3 words, and I'm going to pull my screen up here so you can see the 3 words. Oops, excuse me. The 3 words that really sum up the root chakra are as follows. Sorry about this. Here we go. I am here. This is the essence of the root chakra. The reason it's called a root is because it is symbolic of our connection to the earth, just as a plant has a literal root that literally connects it to the earth. And if you pull it out by the root, it dies. So too, your root chakra is symbolic of your life, your time here on the planet. And so I am here means, first off, I am here inside of this body, and second off, I'm here on this planet, or in other words, in a physical reality. A lot of religions like to tell you that your spiritual nature is more important than your physical, because the physical is just temporary and you're an everlasting spirit and all this stuff, which is true. However, we're going to find out as we get further and further into this class and into all of these chakras that there is a immensely important spiritual job that you are here to do, and you're here to do it with this body that you have. And so we find that the body is not secondary at all. In fact, it is essential. It is just as essential to your existence as is your spiritual nature. So we'll be revisiting this theme throughout the presentation. But starting here at the root, we're primarily concerned with the survival of the physical body. And once we have accomplished survival, meaning we have our basic needs met, such as food, clothing, and shelter, we can move on to thrival, right? It's not just about being here and getting by barely. It's about being here and being taken care of so that you can do your work, your spiritual work, as well as your physical work. Because again, you are in a physical body, right? I'm going to pull our friend Mars up here. Mars is the astrological companion to the root chakra. In astrology, Mars represents our physical nature. What do we do with our muscles, with our body, with our physicality? Other planets are about thinking and feeling. Mars is about doing. You'll see the Martian logo. Just do it with Nike shoes, right? Athletic shoes. Athletes are people who focus their entire lives upon their physicality and expression of their physical abilities. So you'll see quite a few different occupations that resonate with each one of the chakras. Athletes is the first and most obvious one for the root chakra. We'll get into a couple more in a minute. But back to you, athlete or not, your root chakra, like I said, first off, get your basic needs met to stay alive, just to keep breathing, right? And then you move on to thrival. So this is also like being a baby, right? The first chakra is the beginning of life in one respect. And so when you are an infant, your basic needs are getting met by other people, right? Mom and dad's main job, or whoever your caretaker is, their main job is to clothe and feed you and clean up after you. Cleanliness is part of the root chakra as well. As we are observing right now in the world with the coronavirus going everywhere, health can depend a great deal on cleanliness and hygiene. So in order to thrive, again, maintaining a clean environment is part of that. So you see all kinds of activities that coincide with each one of these chakras. People who are strong in the root chakra, and by the way, I should mention the people who we know are strong in the root chakra are going to be Aries and Scorpio, because those are the two signs ruled by Mars. Now, if you are not Aries or Scorpio, that doesn't mean you don't have a strong root chakra. We just know for a fact that if you are Aries or Scorpio rising, or Aries or Scorpio moon, for example, that these issues, these root chakra issues, will be particularly strong in your experience. So, but like I said, there are plenty of other ways to have a strong root chakra. So, working. This is one way the root chakra expresses itself, and especially in those who are heavy on root chakra, if you will, workaholics. Workaholism on some levels is that need, that constant need to be moving. We all know people like this. Some of us may be people like this, but Mars feels most at home when he is moving. And so if you are ruled by the planet Mars, you're a mover, you're a doer. Just sitting still is not really an option for people who have a super strong Mars. They've got to keep moving. They got to keep doing. It doesn't have to be athleticism. It often is, though. It often involves at least moving the body quite a bit. I have a friend who is a firefighter. He calls himself a public service athlete. Firefighters, policemen, if you've ever been close to these guys, you see how big their muscles are, right? These are huge guys and gals. Very, very strong at the least. You've got to be really strong and in good physical shape to save someone, to pull a body out of a burning building, right? This is what we're talking about, the perfection, the strengthening, the focus on building up the physicality as best you can. So we have public service athletes, we have sporting athletes, we have workaholics, we have doctors and massage therapists, people whose work is involved with the body itself. You can think of many other acupuncturists. There are several ways in which you can come at your root chakra in terms of career or occupation. a couple other obvious ones. Oh yeah, the firefighters, by the way, you might have noticed before, they drive around in red trucks. Okay. The lifeguards on the beach are wearing red swim trunks. You might have noticed back in our chakra picture that we're looking at the color red here, right? Red corresponds to the root chakra because it gets our attention, right? We see those red fire trucks with their red lights spinning. We're like, okay, something's up. We see the red trunks on the lifeguard. We know who to run to if there's trouble. We can find them easily and instantly because they're wearing that red. Another connotation of the color red, and that ties into the root chakra, of course, is sexuality. Now, I know a lot of people have heard the term sexual chakra and they think of Venus or the second chakra as having to do with sex. As it turns out, first off, your sexuality is bigger than just one chakra. Second off, there's no such thing as a sexual chakra. Chakras are nouns. They're named after parts of the body. Sexual is not a part of the body. But when we're talking about the root chakra, and you'll notice here by the picture on the screen that the root chakra is in the area of your genitals. So we have to have some connection with our sexuality here in the root chakra. The connection is this. The root chakra symbolizes your sexual needs and what you need, how you go about getting your needs met. When we talk about sex and sexual energy or coming together with another person, that's second chakra, right? Two people having a good time together. But down in the first chakra, it's just you and what you need, coming to terms with getting your own needs met. And so the red light district in some cities is the place where, maybe you kids don't know this, but in the old days, we used to call it the red light district, was where the prostitutes were. And again, you're not going to the red light district to have a relationship. You're going to get your needs met. It's a one-way street, right? We're in the first chakra. So these are all different connotations in our culture. Red light district, red swim trunks, red fire trucks. Yeah, you'll see stuff like this everywhere you go. Valentine's, when Valentine's is coming along, we give red roses and red, hearts. And the essential meaning of Valentine's, I know it's sort of been watered down here in the 21st century where everyone gets a trophy no matter what they do, but you don't fall in love to the point where you want to have sex with everyone you meet. The Valentine is red. You give someone red roses because you want them to know not only do you have strong feelings about them, but you want to have sexual relations with them. That's, again, your sexuality is larger than just one chakra, but an essential part of romance is consummating that relationship. So next thing I want to talk about, because Mars is the god of war, I want to talk about war and warriorhood. Now, wars, by the way, are always fought 99% of the time. There are very few exceptions, but almost every war is fought for resources, which means money, right? We say we're fighting for freedom, but that's just a bunch of, well, you know what I'm saying. We're currently fighting for oil. We used to fight for land or for territory, for hunting grounds, again, to provide us with food, or fishing grounds where we could fish or have commerce in a ship to trade goods back and forth. Again, it's all to do with money. Warriorhood, however, is somewhat different. In ancient cultures, warriors were the biggest and the strongest people in the tribe, typically men, because men are typically bigger and stronger than women, not always. Typically, they would be the men, but whoever, man or woman, it would be the biggest and strongest person in the tribe. And why do you get the biggest and strongest person to be the warrior? Because the warrior's job is to protect everyone else who's not as big and strong as they are. That is the essential meaning of warriorhood. The one or the ones who are there to take care of the people who are not as strong as they are. The children, the elderly, the weak, the sick, whoever it may be. That's the essence of warriorhood. Now, if you're thinking that you would like there to be a warrior come around once in a while, I want to call your attention to the fact that the warrior actually lives inside of you. Every single one of us has the warrior energy. Now, I don't know how many of you watching are parents, but if you are, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because there has been a time in your child's life when they were very tiny and maybe on the playground or out in public somewhere, and you sensed either a stranger or a situation about to develop that was going to put your child at risk, and you instantly switched in to warrior mode and took action. And if you're a parent, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You will do anything to protect your child. This is the warrior coming through us when we need it. Now, for those of you who are not parents, you too also have felt this at times when you have come to the rescue or the aid of a friend, maybe someone who's getting bullied, maybe a friend of yours who's getting harassed. There are lots of opportunities for the warrior in you to step up and make a difference in someone's life. So, yes, we all have all 7 of these chakras in our chart. Now, not all of us are really focused on the root chakra. Some of us are more focused on art and beauty, and some are more focused on business, and some are more focused on intuitive abilities, spiritual matters. But regardless of how you're wired, you have a root chakra, and it is there for you to use. Now, if you, as I was saying earlier, if you are Aries or Scorpio, we know the root chakra is a strong area of your life, but this does not mean that you are necessarily good or strong or accomplished in the root chakra. It means that this is a serious part of your life. I'll give you an example. Someone I know has Mars on the ascendant in their astrological chart, and the ascendant is the most significant point of anyone's chart. So anytime you have a planet there, it really takes on added weight in your life. This person has Mars right there on the ascendant. This person was also born with cerebral palsy. So you see, she doesn't thrive in physical contest or physical activity, and yet the fact of her cerebral palsy becomes a dominant focus, a dominant part of her life. So, like I said, you don't have to be necessarily good at this. You don't have to have a lot of money. You could be starving or always looking for money and still have a strong root chakra. But the idea is that this area of life will be strong for you. I said Aries or Scorpio, Aries or Scorpio moon, Aries or Scorpio rising. You could also have the planet Mars in Aries or Scorpio, and it would be equally strong. You could have Mars on your ascendant, as I gave in this example. You could have Mars on your midheaven. You could have Mars conjunct your sun. You could have Mars conjunct Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto. See what I'm saying? There are dozens and dozens of ways that anyone can have an emphasized or strong root chakra in their experience. And so just because you're not Aries or Scorpio doesn't mean you cannot resonate with this strongly. And that's one of the beautiful things about what I do as an astrologer when I'm looking at your chart. I'm seeing what's going on with your root chakra, what's going on with your heart chakra, what's going on with your throat chakra. I can see how you in particular are wired. But that's just a little side plug for an astrological reading if you'd like one. Now the last part of this bit of class is to draw in a cultural archetype. So I have characters from culture, some living, some real, that I tie into each one of these chakras so you kind of get a sense of what I'm talking about here. And our character, our archetype for the root chakra is James Bond. Okay? He is a warrior, right? He's a workaholic. He's always working. He's ostensibly serving his country. He's also a sex machine, right? He's having sex all the time, right? And I often ask in the class, how many women does James Bond get? Of course, the answer is all of them. And then the next question, of course, is how many women does James Bond love? And the answer is none of them. You see, James Bond is a character. He's not a person. He's exemplifying the attributes of the root chakra. That's what makes him so popular, because we all would like to be James Bond once in a while, perhaps, or if you're a woman, maybe you'd like to meet James Bond once in a while. But most of us are more filled out chakra wise. We're operating with all 7 energy centers. Whereas James Bond is just a character. He's just exhibiting those qualities mainly from the root chakra. So there you have it. Going back to our little blurb, I am here. As we proceed through the class, we go up to the second chakra, and it'll be like, I'm here, what? Right? And you'll get a little information about that second chakra, and then we'll go up to the third chakra. Well, if I'm here to blah, then that also means blah, blah, blah. And we go up to the heart, and it ties all together as we get through each and every one of these chakras, so that by the end of it, we have come up to a full 26-word sentence, in fact, that describes better than any other sentence I've read or been taught. It describes the reason why we are here. I actually used to call this class Purpose of Life 101, but Chakras, Mythology, and Astrological Symbolism is so much sexier of a title, so we changed it. But yeah, it really shows us why we are here as human beings. The general overall purpose for, I mean, why are we here? It's a pretty important question, and I believe the answer lies in our energetic anatomy, and then everything that we do, say, actions we take, feelings we feel, stem from that energetic anatomy and how well or how poorly it's functioning, and whether we're allowing these spiritual impetus to work through us as we're designed to. So that is that's the intro, or I should say it's not the intro, this is the beginning of the class. I actually have the intro, which is more of a sort of like a precursor, a look at our alphabet and why words are important, because I'm choosing my words very carefully in this class. You can watch that on YouTube. There's other fun stuff on YouTube, other excerpts from the class up there. And yeah, I hope this piques your interest. I'm doing these classes online for the foreseeable future, right? Who knows how long? Maybe for the rest of my career, because even when the quarantine has been lifted and I can do this in public again, I can still do this online for anyone anywhere in the world that has an internet connection. So you can like Chakraology on Facebook. That's a good way to stay connected, because I post all my events on Facebook. There's the website, of course, chakraology.org. And how else can we stay connected? That's about it. So also let me know if you have a group that wants to watch this class together. I will do a class just for you and your group. I've done it for families before, just the 5 or 6 people sitting around the big screen TV at home watching the class. I can do it for any group, anytime, anywhere. This is my mission, is to spread this information around. By the way, this is not my unique information by any stretch at all. This stuff is all ancient. By the way, I don't know if you noticed that picture when we started. Maybe I'll put that up on the slideshow right now. But this picture that I showed at the beginning, let's go back here. See if we can get the slide. There we go. You see this picture. I know it's a little difficult to make out clearly, but if you look real close, and I could show you on this, or you can see this picture on my Facebook page. But these planet symbols here are inside of this guy's chakras. So you see the notion that chakras and planets are representing the same force. It's certainly not my idea at all. This is ancient. This picture is about 400 years old. And I erased the words that were written in there, and you probably can't read these very clearly, but just to show you, if you look close enough right here, let me just blow this up here so you can see what we're talking about. The words on this picture right here, that's French, y'all. This is not a picture made by someone in India. It's a picture made by a European. So the question now is, how did Europeans know about chakras 400 years ago? I just heard the word chakra for the first time like 20 years ago, right? So something for you to chew on, and I can answer that question and lots others when we get into the class. So anyway, I'll wrap it up there. Hope to see you online soon, sooner or later. Call me anytime or drop me a message anytime. I'm happy to do a class for you and your people. For if you have an online community, of course, if you have a brick and mortar business such as a healing center like where I am now, or a yoga studio or a church, and you're not having people come in for classes and you're offering them online instead, certainly glad to do this class for you online for your group. Just anybody who wants to see it is welcome. So contact me, find me on Facebook, and yeah, adios for now. I'll put an end to this.